welcome back or welcome to my channel. It is Sunshine Lorena and I'm going to be telling you about all the new releases that I'm super excited coming out in this last part of the year. Can you believe it? We're in like the final quarter of the year. Like, this is like my last anticipated releases video of the year. I have no idea where the year has went. And September is just disappeared. Like, I feel like it was the start of September last week and like gone. Kind of scary how fast September's went. But anyway, I'm just gonna let you know all of the books that I am super excited for. I have a little bit of mixture of genres for this quarter's video. So there are some Christmassy ones because we're leading up to Christmas, and even though they're not groundbreaking, gonna win awards, they're fun. So there's a couple of those. There is some fantasy, and then there's also thrillers, because thrillers are released all year. But when it comes to autumn, like, that is like the season of thrillers. So there's quite a few of those on this list. And I'm just gonna take you through it. This has been a long enough introduction as it is. So I'm gonna start off like with one of like the big ones of this quarter, and that is Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. So in case you didn't know, this is from the author of Legends and Lattes, and this is a prequel to that book. I still need to read Legends and Lattes, guys. It's on my Kindle. I got like approved for the arc late and I was like, I'll get to it, and I keep saying to myself every single month and I still haven't got to it, but I will probably in November when this comes out, November 9th, guys, because yeah, I will get to it. But this is a prequel. I know everyone loved Legends and Lattes, like it gives like really great cozy mystery vibes, so this is a prequel of that book, so I'm not going to go into the synopsis for this one in case, you know, spoilers or anything like that. So next up on this list is a thriller, because like I said, autumn is the thriller season, and that is The Patient by Cole Baxter. Now, I know you're looking at that book cover like me and thinking that looks a little bit similar to The Silent Patient, because that's what I thought. The premise of this, and I will get into it in a second, is a bit different from The Silent Patient, so it's not like a copy or anything, but very similar vibes for this cover. And this one's being published on the 8th of October, so you really don't have long to wait for this one. So the things he fears the most are the ones inside his head. 10 years ago, James Owens was convicted of a murder he couldn't remember committing. Now finally released from the mental institution where he served his time, he's placed under house arrest in the sprawling family home he's inherited from his father. Living in isolation, visited only by his therapist, parole officer, and supportive but controlling twin, Janet, he at least has something resembling peace. But he is still haunted by hallucinations, nightmares, and bizarre memories which may or may not be real. Strange sounds in the house and objects which disappear or are mysteriously damaged all add to his fear that he's sliding into uncontrolled insanity again. But is he? Or is his fragile mental state being manipulated by someone with a sinister agenda of their own? When tragedy strikes, James must go on a journey that will force him to confront the past and the haunted depths of his own tortured soul. It does say that this is a terrifyingly psychological thriller, perfect for fans of Frida McFadden, Daniel Hurst, and K.L. Slater. I am a huge fan of a psychological thriller, and I like this element of it sounds like we're going to be following an unreliable narrator due to the history of a psychological like mind. So it's going to be very interesting, because I feel like I'm going to be questioning when I read this, when I do get to it, is can we trust him, or is someone actually messing with him? So it's going to be extremely interesting in that regards, so I am looking forward to this one. So I have another thriller again for you, and now this one's coming out on the 9th of October, so early October, guys, seems to be the time that the thrillers are being released, so it might be perfect to pick those up in October to read for spooky season, for like, you know, murdery vibes, or November, because it still gives very thriller season. But this is Prom Queen by Laura Wolfe. I love this cover with "We were there all together 20 years ago, only one of us killed her." So this is one that is going back to something that happened in the past, but looking at it from the perspective now. So Bailey stood on the stage, her crown glittering under the high school lights as she blew kisses to those glaring beneath her. Despite the celebrations, something didn't feel right. She wasn't supposed to be prom queen, and someone would make her pay for it. 20 years ago, my best friend Bailey was found dead in the train tracks, half of her friendship locket missing from her pale neck. She never took that off. Officially, it was ruled a tragic accident, but I knew better. She'd been crowned prom queen only hours earlier, and someone's jealousy had finally gotten to them. Now I have been forced to return to my childhood home, to the small lakeside town, and the group of friends I grew up with. Back to the scene of the crime that ruined my life and stole my best friend away from me forever. I need a fresh slate, but I'm seeing Bailey everywhere. A quick flash of her locket on a woman in a cafe surely can't be a coincidence. As I walk along the street, I avoid the suspicious stares of my former classmates. Everyone here thinks it had something to do with Bailey's death. Sure, we did things we shouldn't have as teenagers, but who didn't? But when I start to hear noises in my house and receive threatening notes, I realise someone has never wanted me to come back, and they will do whatever it takes to keep me away. Someone in the small town murdered my best friend the night she was crying prom queen, and now they're after me. We all have our secrets, but who would kill from them? This sounds so good. I like the whole aspect of someone is obviously, you know, trying to stop her. Maybe a little bit of revenge is going to happen in this one. But yes, I like this how we're revisiting essentially the crime scene of where this happened 20 years ago and gonna unravel the mystery of what actually happened. So again, another thriller. I'm kind of going through the thrillers first before I do like the Christmassy ones, because they're like, yeah, they're fun. But this is The Islanders by Caroline Mitchell. This one comes out on the 16th of November, and this is involving an island, in case you didn't guess, and I do love an isolated setting in a thriller. So in this one, she thinks the island will keep her safe. She is wrong. Traumatized by the death of a child in her care, top London paediatrician Claire seeks refuge on remote Selkie Island in the wilds of the Irish Sea with her husband Daniel and their baby daughter Kitty. Hidden away in Daniel's old family home, Claire hopes to be as cut off from her guilt as she is from the mainland. But can she find peace in a place so full of its own secrets? 20 years earlier, Daniel's parents left the island in a boat and never made it to the mainland. Mystery surrounds their deaths and their lives. Why did they set out late at night in a storm? What had really been going on at that house? Even as Claire begins to recover her sense of self and amid the island's rugged beauty, she can't shake off a chilling suspicion that Selkie Island has a dark history that the locals just can't face, and that it somehow has a connection to her own life. When baby Kitty suddenly disappears, Claire's fragile world falls apart. The only way to secure her future is to uncover the past, but the closer she gets to answers, the more danger she finds herself in. Will she be able to save her family, or will the island's dark secrets take another life? Loving the vibes of this one. Is very much giving like it's the island's fault, like something, you know, is wrong with the island. Obviously, I think it's going to be someone, but I just like the impression that it's like it's just the island that is causing this drama, and the mystery and intrigued isolated setting, so you know that it is on the island. Whatever it is on the island, and you know, you're surrounded by water. So I love an isolated setting, and I think this is going to be really, really good. Next up, The Weekend Away by Miranda Smith, and this one is coming out on the 4th of October. Again, this is another thriller, guys. So this one, my sister died, her friends lied, and now I'm going to learn the truth. A year ago, my twin sister Samantha left me a message, I need you. A day later, she was dead. I always knew it was suspicious, but no one would listen. But I've just found her journal tucked in a hidden place in the window seat of her childhood bedroom. It shows who her best friends really are: the fraud, the liar, the cheat, the crush. Now they're all together on a weekend away in a beautiful wood-panelled cabin in the mountain, and I'm going to. One of them killed her, and I'm gonna prove it. But am I ready for the answers I'm seeking? Because I soon realised that my sister had dark secrets too. And when fire breaks out on the mountain, leaving us trapped, I must decide, what will I risk to get justice for Samantha? Because finding the truth might cost me my life. This one sounds really good, and what I love about this is it kind of is turning a typical kind of trope on its head. I've read quite a few different thrillers where people are gathered somewhere, they don't necessarily know who's gathered them, but clearly somebody in the group is like conducting like revenge, trying to find out what actually happened about something. Whereas this, we already know the sister is with them, and she's obviously going to be trying to find it out. So I kind of like it's a different perspective, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out, and how obvious and aware the other people will be that she is obviously trying to find out the truth. And the next one up, the last thriller on this list, I believe. Today She Disappeared by Lisa Hall, and this one comes out the 10th of October. Like I said, October is the month for thrillers being released apparently. So this is a psychological thriller with an astonishing twist apparently. So a remote island, again, the isolated setting, a missing girl, a woman with a troubled past. Becky is back on the tiny island where she was born, the island she swore she'd never return to. Apart from her best friend Megan, everyone makes it clear that she isn't wanted. The islanders have long memories, they haven't forgotten the scandal, what Becky did. Becky decides to leave as soon as she can, but first she must discover what happened to Violet. Violet disappeared exactly a year ago. The day of the summer festival, everyone assumes she ran off to the mainland with her boyfriend. Only her sister believes something more sinister happened to her. Becky starts to ask questions and becomes convinced that Violet never left the island. Someone in this remote, suspicious community knows exactly what happened to her. Someone who's determined to keep the truth hidden, whatever it takes. As Becky pieces the clues together, she's forced to confront the dark secrets of her own past, but has she got it tragically wrong yet again? And then another teenage girl goes missing. So this one, again, remote setting, somebody returning to their hometown, and lots of secrets and lies. Common theme with these thrillers that I've picked out for this, but they kind of are like one of my favourite kind of sub-genres in the thriller genre, this remote settings. I think it's been really interesting. She's also trying to find out what happened to her sister, just like in the other one. And obviously it leaves you intrigued what actually she did in her past, that the islanders really just don't like her and they don't want her there. But it's really, really intriguing to see how it's gonna all pan out. Okay, and now let's just get into those Christmassy books, guys. So the first one I have on my list is 5 Gold Rings by Kirsten Bailey, and this comes out on the 30th of October. I feel like they all kind of get released October, more or less by late October, otherwise early November, so they're there in time for the Christmas season. And I love Christmas, and I do love a good Christmas book that just, you know, brings the vibes, guys, of the season. So what does Christmas look like to you? Tree rammed with homemade decorations, a mantelpiece weighed down with cards, mum telling dad not to put the chocolate wrappers back in the tin, a festive film on the television. It should definitely not look like a naked woman on her knees noshing off your boyfriend of 3 years in the shower. It's Christmas Eve, and the holidays are not off to a good start for Eve. After the surprise and shock of her catching her boyfriend cheating, Eve, totally devastated, reacts by throwing the gifts she selfishly bought and wrapped for his family out the window. But while doing so, she discovers her own present from Chris under the Christmas tree, an engagement ring he bought at the jeweller's where she works. What the jingle bells is going on, and what was he thinking? Confused and with her Christmas plans in tatters, Eve rocks up at the jeweller's for some tea and sympathy with her loyal employers, Mr. and Mrs. Casper, who quietly put in a distress call to her colleague Joe. Eve doesn't know that Joe is secretly in love with her, but her bosses do, and they know he's just the person Eve needs to comfort her in her crisis. Joe gets a call while moonlighting as a buff butler at the Christmas-themed hen do and races across town to help console Eve. But as he learns about her heartbreak, the Caspers realise a crucial delivery has gone astray. 5 gold rings destined for Christmas proposals and weddings have been sent to the wrong address. Can Eve and Joe retrieve the rings and get them to the rightful owners in time? As they set off in Joe's ancient Mini, Joe still dressed as a sexy elf and Eve just a little bit tipsy. Their adventure begins with 3 proposals and 2 weddings to get to. It's up to Eve and Joe to save Christmas. This sounds like it's going to be so funny. Whether or not Eve and Joe get together, who knows? Need to read it to find out, but it just sounds like it's going to be hilarious. I love the fact that she's called Eve, and yeah, just to kind of find out what happened and trying to save Christmas. It is just all you want in a Christmassy novel, and it just sounds perfect for a Christmas film as well. Like, if this book is good, they should adapt it and make a film. Okay, next one up on my Christmassy book list here is Holiday Vibes by Sarah Benton, and this one comes out on the 24th of November. I'm just gonna go straight into the synopsis here. This is the second book in the over-the-top love series. It has enemies with benefits, brother's best friend romance, features a grumpy hero and a snarky, unlikable heroine finding their happily ever after. It can be read as a standalone, it says. It contains some spicy scenes, guys, and strong languages. It comes with a warning on here, so you will know exactly what you're getting into, because sometimes with these cute covers, you just never know until you're on that page. So if that's not what you want, this book is not for you. So working for a sex toy company after failing to make it in the art world, Jessie Foyle knows a Phyllis when she sees one. Her brother's best friend, the reason she can't paint is definitely a Phyllis. She'd rather drink bad eggnog than stay under the same roof as the annoyingly hot celebrity for the holidays. But patching up her relationship with her brother means making nice with his friend. Nick Fontana, shirtless smolder, rocketed him to the top of the massive superhero franchise, even though he can't act. Reeling from a recent divorce, unhappy in Hollywood, and facing a challenging script and a new director, he he needs the support of the closest thing he has to a family now more than ever. What he doesn't need is a dangerous attraction to his harshest critic, Jessie. When a pair of mistletoe underwear spark a sexy encounter and the start of a secret holiday fling, Nick and Jessie are forced to come to terms with their complicated past and deeply buried feelings. But when the holidays end, they'll have to risk it all to find out if they have what they have is more than just vibes. And that's it for the synopsis. So it sounds very much that it's not so much about the Christmas as with the other one. It just so happens to kind of be that situation happening at Christmas is the vibes I get, but there will be some Christmassy vibes. Next one on this list is Nice Seasoning and a Dash of Love by Katrina Kwan. This one comes out on the 19th of December, and this one is not Christmassy. I just got it a little bit mixed up in my list here, but it is not a Christmas one, but it is romance. So meet Alexander Chen, one of the most talented chefs to go ever grace the culinary world. Now meet Eden Monroe, his newly hired sous chef who may or may not have definitely embellished a lot on her resume to land her the job. Alexander rules his kitchen with an iron fist and a fiery temper. Mistakes simply won't be tolerated. It's no secret that if you can't handle the heat, he'll gladly toss you out with the trash. It's one of the very first Chinese-American chefs to claw his way to the top of the world of French cuisine. He has a lot to prove and a massive chip on his shoulder. He wasn't always like this. Eden knew him back when he still went by his real name, Shang. He used to be sweet and helpful and definitely not the second coming of the devil himself. Eden won't say anything though, no matter how hot her curiosity burns, especially not if it could cost her the job. She needs to save as much as she can if she wants any hope of hiring a private detective to find something she's lost long ago. All she needs is to fly under the radar. It's just a shame that she and her new boss butt heads more often than they fulfill orders. What'll happen when things finally boil over and they discover that things between them are spicier than they first ordered? Definitely sounds like enemies to lovers vibes in this. Grumpy sunshine, I'm hoping. But yes, not Christmassy, but a romance that sounds really good. I do like romances around like food type ones, if that makes sense. I've read a few where it involves like chefs or, you know, cooking in general, and they're just fun. They're always fun. I just like that element to it. Okay, the second last one on this list is 'Tis the Damn Season, and it's by Kimmy Freeman, and this one comes out on the 24th of October, and that title gives two things. One, Christmassy vibes. Two, Taylor Swift. And this is actually told in dual timelines, and it's inspired by the Taylor Swift song 'Tis the Damn Season. And this is a contemporary romance. So a Hollywood starlight caught in a scandal, the boy she never got over. A Christmas season they will never forget. Aspen Moore is living proof that money doesn't buy happiness. At 23 years old, the singer-actress has it all. Fame, fortune, her own headline tour. And yet something or someone is missing. When a scandal rocks Aspen's carefully constructed Hollywood life, she's forced to return to her Pennsylvanian hometown, where she reconnects with her first love, Roman Torres. Aspen knows they must keep the relationship strictly platonic. The game of push and pull, catch and release she plays with Roman is bad for her. She's not staying in Fairtsville and he's not moving to LA, but their chemistry is undeniable, and amidst rumours and drama, the bright lights of Hollywood begin to pale in comparison to the dark brown eyes she fell in love with all those years ago. Could Aspen be willing to give up everything she's ever wanted for the best thing she never had? Sounds so good. I just love the fact that it's like inspired by a Taylor Swift song. I think this is gonna be really interesting. It's a great concept. And those Christmas vibes, guys, like romance, Christmas vibes, you know. And then every time I read one, I just like, oh, this could be a film, like a Christmas film. And I always hope that they become them. And finally, the last one is Mayhem in Circulation, and it is a Larkspur library mystery by Leah Dobronska. This one comes out on the 5th of December. So just before I get the synopsis, not a Christmassy one, but when I read the synopsis, it gave me vibes of this has been released too late. Like I feel like this should have been released like late August, early September, and you'll find out now the reason why when I see the synopsis, but it still captured my eyes on this one, and I do want to read this at some point. Librarian Greta Plank is hard at work planning and preparing for Larkspur's Fall Festival and regional tourism showcase. If successful, will be a boon to the local community, but disaster strikes and chances of a positive review look slimmer than a periodical spine when a series of pranks escalates and one of the Larkspur's own is found dead the same day the reporter is set to arrive. Desperate to find her own town's character and get to the bottom of the circulating mayhem, Greta begins indexing suspects. Could the crimes be an outside job undertaken by someone intent or harming the town's reputation, or is someone closer to home trying to ruin Larkspur from the inside? With destruction of property, sabotage, and strange animal mishaps piling up on top of murder, Greta wouldn't recommend this choose-your-own disastrous adventure to anyone. In the end, she must decide who she can trust so she can close the book on these crimes before the shadowy vandal authors another killer. So yes, that synopsis of Fall Festival Autumn. The cover is giving autumn and fall vibes. So yeah, that's why I'm saying I feel like it should have been released earlier, because we're doing perfect, like I said, latest early September, so then people read it like, oh, all the autumn vibes. However, I'm still gonna read it. I find it really interesting. This is book 2. There is a book 1 which I haven't read. I only came across when I was looking for releases coming up, and I said that one looks really nice. The first one is Death Checked Out, which I assume normally with these murder kind of these cozy mystery books, the first one is set up, it gives you kind of the background, but I feel like when you always pick up the second one, it gives like additional vibes, but I'm not 100% sure, so I don't know if it matters what order you read it in, but caught my eye. And that's it. That is all the books that I have on my list coming up that are coming out for release. Let me know if any of those are in your radar. Let me know and leave a comment down below. Hit that like button and hit subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Happy reading! Bye! And I'm gonna be letting you know all of the new releases that I'm excited for coming out the end. No, that doesn't sound right. So,